Hey guys, RSC here, Life on Two Wheels. So this is for you guys and girls, everyone, whoever, that want to, or that are interested or looking into buying an e-bike that's used possibly. And here's some things to consider. So I'm basing this all off Canadian prices. These are my thoughts and opinions. So I'll probably have the hate mail starting soon. So this is a bike that, say we're gonna go off the Rize Bikes base price and blade, like say I bought for $2,250 Canadian with taxes it was. So when you're buying a bike, new or used, first of all you need to look at the bike as, is it gonna suit you and your lifestyle or your type of riding? What I mean by that is the blades, say the seat's up high, you can't adjust the seat for your pedal lengths and stuff for your stroke, so that's can be a minus for people. Or some don't want fat tires, some do. If you are going to be riding on the streets constantly, I probably wouldn't get a fat tire myself. They can be hard. They're just, if you're on asphalt all day or concrete driving them around, it's really they're probably not the best suited bike for you. There are other bikes, tons of bikes out there. I don't think I'd go with a fat tire if I was just going on asphalt all day around the city. So that's then there's your step through, your downhill. That's what you need to try and figure out. First of all, obviously price is going to be one of your big things, especially if you're buying used. You're probably trying to save or get something better than you would be able to afford that was new. You get some better used. But so what I've found and I've worked out in the pricing and whatnot is, or in what to look for too, is first of all, okay, so that style of bike, what it suits, if it suits you. So say fine, well obviously it's going to be the price. Next, you should be asking them the kilometers. If they say I don't know them or I'm not sure, or they can't give you at least a picture before you go see of the kilometers. So or they say they don't know how to get to the kilometers, they're full of shit. So if say it's a bafang, they're a 3-button system. The center button, when the bike is on, they have to slowly tap that like 3 or 4 times to get to it, to show it. Because you guys need to remember, there's your trip odometer in the bottom. And some bikes have the A and a B trip odometer. That might tell you 500 or 800 kilometers, let's say, if they didn't reset it. But when they go through to the other ones, it will come up the actual full kilometers, like on a vehicle, and it could be at 7,000. You don't know, so you need to make sure they're at that right one. Or tell them how to research the bike. If you research the bike enough, you should know. You should be looking into that stuff. So another thing is, like, obviously, is it stolen? Because you don't want that. Then you obviously, do they have any of the original documentation, and do they have service records, if any, and what type of shape's the bike in? Also, you want to know the battery. Personally, I wouldn't touch myself anything below a 36 below a 48 volt. There's lots of 36s out there. I wouldn't get one myself. I just think it's too low, and I think the way technology's going, like with 48s, there's the 52s, they're going to be common before you know it. So the other thing is looking at the components on the bike, or the cogs, like the sprockets, boards, check the front. A big thing is bearings. Don't be afraid to shake a tire and take it out. Make sure you ask them, when you come check this bike out, you want 100% charged, 100%. You want to take it out for a test drive. If you can't take a bike out for test drive, so say you drive there, your car's sitting in your driveway or whatever, it's not like you're just leaving your car. So take the bike out, and don't be afraid to take it for a ride. Like, you should be able to. And even if it's a street, like, just go up and down it 10 times. You might feel foolish, but go at least 10 times, feel it, and go like, slow and then hard on the throttle or whatever it has, and get it up to its full speed or whatever if you can, and feel the brakes, pedal it, do like starts without the throttle or without pedaling and just pure throttle, or if it's pedal assist, just your light pedal, see if the motor takes you up to that, and try it with pedaling. But make sure like the bottom bracket, like the crank bearings are tight, the front is. Check your tire tread, all that stuff. The big thing is too is you want to know how old the bike is. So what I've kind of realizing with bikes now, so for a bike, let's say at $2,250 like the Blade, and say I had say I'm looking at a bike with let's say 5,000 kilometers on it. Okay, so that 5,000 kilometers, what I do is for every 1,000 kilometers, I think it's about $130. I think is kind of fair off the bike price. The reason is because there's wear and tear on everything, and so that 5,000 kilometers, $130 is $650 off that price. So that gets you down to sorry. We're good. So that will get you down on that bike price to $1,600. Sorry, I just had some other numbers here. So that would get you down to $1,600 off that 2250 bike. But after, so say it's like 1 year or just before a year old, then yeah, that's damn good. Like, I think that's all right. Now, add on though, if it's 2 years old or going on 2 years, I would knock off another $100 because battery degrading or whatever. And then the third, if it's 3-year-old bike, say, you add $200 a year after that. So second year, 100. Then on top of the kilometers, so 100 on the second, third year, take $200 more. If it's a 4 year, fourth year, $200. So if let's say that was it. So it was $2,250 bike, and with the 5,000K, and we did $130 minus it off that price per 1,000 kilometers. It puts you at $650, which equals $650, and that's $1,600. Okay, so say the bike is 3 years old, so first year don't count. Second year, the second year is going to be, you take another $100 off, and then if it's, so say the third year, if it was third year, I would take off, you take $200 off for the third, in the fourth year you do $200. So anything after that second, because what you want to do here, you don't want to be buying this bike, especially nowadays, like people, it's just crazy because of this pandemic. When you don't want to be caught paying, okay, so say the battery, you're not in warranty anymore, obviously. So let's say it's 3 years old and you knock off another $300. So you want that bike for technically, if it's 3 years old, you should try and get that bike for about $1,300 Canadian. And that's with the first year about $100 off, or second year, I mean, with $100 off battery deterioration, and the third year, that's $200. Cause after that second year, $100, you want to keep taking $200 off a year. Now that way you're covering your butt, because batteries only last so long, last so many cycles, and the more they're sitting around, like for years, that also deteriorates the batteries over time. And we don't know, you don't necessarily how it's stored. Like I live in Canada, it kills them. Like if it's in the sun all day baking, and then in the winter it's in a shed or whatever with like this minus 15 or whatever, and it's just freezing the battery. So those are things you want to think of, and the battery's deteriorating with kilometers too. Now, let's just say, change the scenario a bit. Let's say there's a 1 year old bike, or just came up on its 1 year, so it's just past warranty, and their originally price was $2,250. Okay, so there's 1,500 kilometers on the 1 year bike, and the person wants $1,750. Now let's say there's the same bike with the exact same bike, but it's 4 years old with 750 kilometers. And the guy wants 1,750, the same price as the guy with the 1 year old bike with 1,500 kilometers, and the guy with 750 kilometers, that's a 4 year old bike. He wants the same price for 1,750. I would go with the 1 year. If it was me, if I was my choices, you'd be saving at $500 off a new or so. But not even that. If it's just your choice of those two bikes, I would probably go with the 1 year old bike with double the K, with 1,500 kilometers, over the 4 year old bike with 750K. And the reason I say that is that battery has sat for, that battery's 4 years old. So that right there is a lot sitting on that, or right there on that bike. Negatives. The kilometers isn't necessarily what scares me. It's the battery sitting and not being used. That means, has that thing been sitting on a charger constantly for months after months after months, not being used, or has it been just sitting they ran it till it was almost dead at like 20% and then pulled the battery, or just put the bike away and it sat for 3 months? We don't know. And that's one thing you should look at when you go look at the bikes. See where it was stored. You should be able to kind of tell or know, and take a look around. Like, is it heated? Is it that, you don't want it sitting outside? Is it been outside all the time? Does it get stored indoors? Maybe take a look. As bad as it sounds, if it's 1,000 kilometers, say each bike, even if there's 1,000 on this bike and this bike, they're bought the same day. The guy that's overweight and doesn't, a person that's overweight and doesn't pedal at all, that 1,000K is going to be hard on that bike compared to the guy that's, say, smaller, like thinner guy, athletic in shape. The battery is going to have more wear probably on this bike, on the bigger person that hasn't been pedaling. And I'm not saying bigger people don't pedal. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what I would expect, and what I've seen from others buying used bikes, and just what I see on the trails is kind of what I'm stating is the trend just suits, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. So just keep those things in mind. And if the guy is not willing to budge on the price, so say that bike was $2,250 and he wants $1,900 or $2,000 for his bike he just bought, don't do it. Just go get a new one. If you're gonna lose $250, don't go out and grab your coffee in the morning. Make it at home for the week. You'll save enough in no time just to do that. Don't eat out every day for lunch. A couple weeks, there's your $250, or whatever you need extra. Think of it that way. Like, it's something that can bring you joy for a long time, and you can, do so much with it. Or do you want to have a coffee that you can make at home and save that money? Vice versa, going out and spending a couple bucks a day, sometimes multiple times, and I did that, it would lead to, like, grab a donut, grab this, grab that, and all of a sudden it's like you're $2 coffees now, you know, it turned into an $8 or $9 ordeal because you stuff in your face. So that's kind of a way you can maybe look at it. It's justifying money different ways for it, but there's nothing wrong with buying used e-bike. Just be aware that there are things to look for, and like try and find a battery manufacturing date on it, and do your research. Is it a good, reputable brand? Like, are they even still around? Are they gonna be around, do you think? What kind, big things, what batteries are they in it? Are they Panasonic? Are they Samsung? Are they LG? Are they, you know, it helps to do research, and it'll save you money in the end. And you got to stick to your guns. Don't feel pressured into buying an e-bike or a bike. They'll change your life. I'm telling you. Like, it is. Everyone I know that's got one, they just love it, and it's a blast. You cover more area. You know, you see people, you meet people. It's great. And there's nothing wrong with normal bikes at all. Absolutely, and they're great. I like the e-bike. I like the style of the Rize Bikes blade, and it opens up a whole new life and world to you. So I don't want anyone to get the first e-bike and it's just a piece of junk and they hate it. And another thing, actually quick thing, you see these crazy deals on these e-bikes. And they got these tiny little tires on them, and they're like, could go on sale for like, you know, $500 or $600 or whatever. They're little fold out, or these, but they got little tiny wheels. Like I don't even know if they're 12 inches or whatever they are. I highly recommend staying away from that. And you can't ride them on a trail or anything. Like, I mean, walking trails even. I know a guy that bought 2 of them, and he regrets it. And I've heard that from multiple people. It's just this rigid, rocky ride. And another thing is, personally, I think when you buy a fold-out bike, I personally wouldn't buy one myself. I have a couple reasons. I hope no one hates me for this. The problem with fold-out bikes, I think, is what you're doing is creating, you tighten it down and stuff, but you got folds in your frame, which if you're going to ride this thing quite a bit, and that's what happens, I think, is a lot of people do end up riding them quite a bit. What can happen is things loosen. And also, everything is adjustable on the fly, so your handlebars have this long, weird kind of shaft that comes up. This is getting awkward, but it's a weird riding position. It's almost like your pedals are back behind you a bit, and then you're like up in this weird kind of position and it doesn't feel near as sturdy as a normal bike. And the second thing is, people have a mixed and lost, like, the perception of these fold-out bikes, I think, is totally wrong. Like, I've heard this from people with RVs. They buy these fold-out bikes thinking, oh great, I'm gonna just fold her up and pack it in the side of my RV or on the under compartment storage. Not likely. I've heard horror stories. People bought 2 bikes, wife and husband or whatever, partner, they buy these bikes and these fold-up bikes, and they're going to take them camping, and they can just or in their RV, and they can just throw them underneath, and it's going to be great. Or they'll take 2 of them and fold them up and put them in their little SUV car or whatever, or crossover. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, they fold up and you can kind of down, but they have 20-inch tires, most of them. So you have a 20x4 fat bike tire on a lot of these bikes. Plus add in your crank, like pedals, and add in the frame. So you're quickly getting bigger and bigger. There's not too many things that would take that, like, they're big enough. So a lot of them end up having to bring them into their RVs. Or you have to buy a receiver hitch thing, like to carry them, which they're heavy bike. Like bikes, like say one of those bikes is about 60 pounds with the battery. So you could pop the battery out, you might save that, like that's 10 less in each. But don't think you're gonna get a bike that folds up into this little tiny thing. Like there's still your forks, your frame, your tires, and that's something you should consider, because the point of buying the e-bike was to put it in, say, your RV. Yes, they do store. They will save you a bit of space when you like say in an apartment, or you don't have much storage. You can put it into a closet, but to be like these easy, compact, fun bikes where you can just store them easily into your RV or whatever trailer, it doesn't. It's not really that, because now you've got an awkward package at say 50 pounds that you're trying to wiggle into something. They're not. It's not a. It's a weird weight too. So those are things you should think of, because getting that fold out bike that was going to go in your RV and be in safe storage, and no one can get to, and out of the climate and whatever. Well, now that whole thing is blown apart because it won't actually fit in, or you have nowhere to store it in your RV. When you get the receiver hitch thing, you might as well just buy a normal e-bike then, that's not fold out, has better riding position. There's nothing. I have nothing against them. E-bikes are great, fold out bikes. It's the misconception and misleadingness of what people think about, or what they think they're going to be able to do. So if still you're looking at an e-bike, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying those fold out bikes, maybe see if you can get the dimensions of what the bike breaks down to, and what its actual measurements are, like length, width, height,